So you've got your Restore makeup, now what? You look in the back of your case, it's gonna show you exactly where to put your colors. Your skin tint is gonna be the largest one right here. You're gonna have your balance, which is used for color correcting, your brightening, your lifting, your blush balms, your eyeshadow colors. So if you got the primer, the way to open that up is you twist the top, then you might have to prime it by squirting it several times in order for it to reach the top. Once it does, take one pump. It's going to be your sunscreen and your primer all in one. If you don't have the primer, that is okay. This just helps to prepare your canvas for a really smooth finish, but you can always try without. There are actually a lot of different ways that you can apply this makeup. I'm going to show you my favorite way, and it's probably the easiest way to apply. I like to first start off with an overall layer of this skin tint shade just to even everything out. So I just apply that all over my skin first. And you don't need a whole lot. Just gently tap in and apply all over your skin. By the way, that brush that I used is the Blend and Go brush. Really, you can use any medium bristle brush. The next thing I like to do is to look at my face and to see if there's any places on my skin that I need to balance. It could be dark circles, it could be redness from acne. I'm gonna use my balance shade, which is my next darker shade. Apply that to the areas that I need to. I have a little bit of dark circling going on, so I'm just gonna touch up there. I do have some redness over here that I could just show you how that can take care of that there as well. I like to prime my eyelids with my balance. This is going to help your eyeshadow to stay on all throughout the day. If I have oily lids, I'm also going to take a light layer of some sort of a setting powder to put that over the top before I put my eyeshadow on. Next, I'm going to apply my lift shade, and this is meant to contour your skin, but also give a little bit of a bronzed glow. So this is a little bit different than typical contours. I'm actually using my smudge brush from Saint. Restore also has a really great brush. It's called the Shade and Go brush, and you could use the smaller end for that. So I'm going to tap into my lift, and I'm going to put it across my forehead towards the top. And it does not have to be perfect, because once you blend this, it is super forgiving and it's really, really easy to blend. I'm also going to go along my cheekbone. We don't want to go underneath of our cheekbone. We actually want to go pretty high up on our cheekbone. And this is going to give you some lift. Now, there's lots of different ways to contour cheekbones. The easiest way is to just make a line right up high on your cheekbone, but you could also make a really high triangle. Just start with a line. And if you really wanted to be advanced, you could make a triangle like that. I also like to put a little underneath of my lip and then down my nose. This is just going to help thin the nose a little bit. And then along my jawline, I start back by the ear. And this is just gonna give some definition to the jawline. I don't wanna go right on the jawline. I actually wanna go right on the edge, just kind of slightly below to create some depth. Then I'm going to take my lightest shade, my brightening, and I'm going to apply that in the areas of my face that I really want to draw some attention to. So your contour is meant to give you some shadow, some depth, and then your brightening is meant to bring the light forward to those areas. So put like 3 lines here in the center of my forehead, down the center of my nose, underneath of my nose, my chin. I like to go right above my contour and right here. And also do a little bit on the inside corner of my eye. I don't ever want to put all underneath of my eye, because that's where my fine lines are. That's just going to draw more attention to those. Now I'm going to start to blend, and I'm going to blend with my lightest colors first. You use a very light hand with this, and you don't swipe, you just stipple onto your skin. I'll show you. I'm just tapping this into my skin, and it blends like a dream. So I'm going over all my light colors first, tapping that in. And then I'll go over my dark colors, just tap that into my skin. Down my nose, tapping. Now with this contour, it blends so easy compared to other contours, so you don't want to swipe, you just really want to gently push, tapping into the skin, and you're gonna notice how easily it blends. Don't forget the jawline. For here, I like to actually take it kind of back and down. Now, if I wanted to, I could add a little bit more bronzer on the higher points of my face, but I really like how this is looking. So I'm gonna move on to the next step, and that is to add the blush balm. I like to go back with my Blend and Go brush, pick the color that I want, tap into that, and I'm gonna go really high up on my cheekbone. I already have really full cheeks, so I don't need to go on the apple of my cheek. Instead, if I go up really high, this is going to give also a lift. I could use that same color for my lips, or I could go a little bit darker. So you could use a brush with a flat tip to apply this, or you could actually use just your finger. And that's really it for the overall face makeup. So now if you want to do your eyeshadow, there's lots of different ways to do this too, but here's the easiest way that I like to do it. So I take my fluffy brush. This is actually Saint's eyeshadow brush. It's my absolute favorite. Tap into your matte medium colored shade, and then go ahead and tap off the excess. Take your eyeshadow and notice my crease right here. So if you've got this like here, like a hooded eye or a partially hooded eye, what I like to do is make sure that I go above that crease, because otherwise if I went in that crease, I wouldn't see that. And I just go all over the eyelid. When I hold my brush too, I hold it not towards the tip like this. Instead, I hold it way back. And just make little circles. You can move it in and out. No perfect way to do this. Just when you're done, you just want to make sure it's all blended. Same thing here. Then I like to just ditch this brush. I go into my medium shimmer shade, take my finger, and I like to put this on the middle to outer edge. This medium shimmer shade to the middle outer edge. And then I like to take my lightest shade, and I can take a different finger, and I can put that in the inner corner of my eyelid. And if I really wanted to, I could also take that shade up underneath, just slightly underneath of my brow bone. I could use this darker color to accent the outer corner, and what I would do is just take and tap in a little bit of that dark color with my small end of my brush and make a backward 7 and blend that out. But I actually really like how this eyeshadow turned out. It's simple, it's pretty. I could take that dark shade and I could line my under eye and also use this shade to line my brows. So the way that you would do that is take a brush that has a rigid, harder end. I'm actually using Saint's line brush. You could tap into water or setting spray and then use that color to fill in your brows. So you would just make lines like that. You could also use this too to line your top eyelid if you wanted to. But you don't have to do all of those shades if you don't want to for eyeshadow. You totally do one, you could do none, but those are just some ideas of what I like to do. And that's really it. It's pretty simple, it's pretty easy. There's lots of different ways to do this. Please reach out to me if you have any questions at all. I'm super excited for you to try this makeup, to use it, and hopefully fall in love with it like I did. I absolutely love how it feels on my skin. It feels like there's absolutely nothing on my skin. If you have any other questions, please let me know, but I hope that you love your makeup.